The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send us an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out about the programming we have available for you, 724, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. Our guests this hour, X Zone Nation, are Becky and Will Gydesen. They are also owners and with Tucson Ghost Company. Their Facebook page is at Tucson Ghost Company. And let me see. Becky, I believe, submits a monthly article for Tucson Happenings called Arizona Paranormal. And they are also the authors of an upcoming book, Haunted Tucson, which is due in stores on or around the middle of October 2019. Becky and Will, welcome to the X Zone.
Well, thank you.
Hey guys, how did you, first of all, how did you get into the world of ghost tours and ghost hauntings, and how paranormal is Arizona?
Well, I can explain how we got into it. Basically, Becky was really into the paranormal, but didn't really talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So she was watching that show, Ghost Hunters. And she looked at me and goes, so do you believe in ghosts? Kind of. I've had my own experience when I was younger.
Right.
So she decided she wanted to go start doing ghost tours. So look into doing ghost tours. So she went down to her sister city, Bisbee, and took one. And then she comes back up, and about a week later, she calls me up while I'm at work, and she goes, how would you feel about owning a ghost tour company? So the simple answer was, will it make you happy? And she said yes, so I said, go ahead and buy it.
Wow. And Becky, what kind of research did you do into the ghost tour business before buying it?
Absolutely none. I did a little bit. It varies from state to state, of course. And with Arizona, I knew that I would come upon a problem during the summer because of the fact that we hit 110 degrees and nobody wants to go out in that heat.
Oh, boy.
But, it was something I was very passionate about. It was something I really wanted to do. So I decided to just throw myself into it 5 years ago, and here I am 5 years later, and still struggling, but getting somewhere with it, though.
Prior to owning the Ghost Company and prior to seeing the television series that inspired you into doing what you do today, had you, Becky, had your very own paranormal experience?
Yes, many. I actually grew up in a haunted house in Toledo, Ohio. So I was raised in that kind of environment, and then even as an adult, I lived in a haunted apartment. So I was always around it, always sensitive to it, but I didn't talk about it because I was told a couple times that I was, a little crazy for believing in that stuff.
let me ask you this. You seem to have had a lot of paranormal experiences. You lived in a haunted house in Ohio, and then you lived in a haunted apartment. Is it possible that you were the conduit and the reason why these places were haunted? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean because of your ability to sense these things.
I don't think it was me in particular. I've lived in plenty of other places where no activity ever happened. But I do believe the fact that I'm a little bit more sensitive to it is probably the reason why the places that I have gone that are haunted, so to say, can get a little bit more active.
I see. And Will, what was your paranormal experience like that you kind of said, well, you know what? Ghost tour business may not be bad. After all, I've had my own experiences. What kind of experiences have you had, Will?
Well, the only experience I had when I was younger was I saw an apparition when I was in the Boy Scouts.
Right.
And it was pretty cool at the time. And then since then, it's kind of hasn't had the same meaning because I've never seen that again. But as far as getting into the Ghost Company business, that was more supporting my wife than anything else because of the fact that most of her life apparently has been doubted about what she's seen or done. And her fascination with it is just beyond belief about what she believes in and how much she believes in this.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you supported your wife that way. My hat is off to you.
So, I mean, most of this is all because of her. I'm pretty much just the guy that keeps her happy and funding it and helping her out with it throughout all the stages that it's gone through.
Right.
And, even the book that's all her.
So yeah, but you're the inspiration. You're the man behind the curtain, so to speak.
For most of it, I have been. Up until recently, I've actually stepped up and started taking more of a role in it.
Becky, let me ask you this, Becky. Why do you think the ghost tour industry is booming at this time in our sociological development?
Yeah, I think it's really taken off, and I think, we have TV shows to thank for that, even though they can also get in the way, so to say. But, definitely it's become more mainstream, and because of the fact that it's become more mainstream, more people are more willing to talk about it and try to experience it.
Here's a question for either one of you. Why is it that, let's say there's 20 people on a ghost tour, maybe half will have an experience, the other half won't, and yet both halves are together?
For one of the things I've found out is there's the people that don't believe are the ones that tune it out.
Okay.
And the ones that do try to open themselves up to being able to have those experiences. It's not uncommon to find somebody that's never had an experience in their whole life, but then when you ask them if they believe in ghosts, they're like, I do, but not really.
Yeah, belief is the strongest power in the universe. If you believe it, it will happen. And I really think that this is one of the key points within the paranormal community that is sometimes forgotten. That, people who haven't had experiences, they take these ghost tours, and just because they aren't open to anything happening, nothing does happen. And yet those who believe or have had previous experiences will have experiences on that walk. How long, so what age would you say is the prime age of your tour business, Becky?
Oh, gosh, it actually varies.
Okay.
I mean, we've had people as young as, 8 years old wanting to do these tours and as old as, 70.
Wow.
We've done birthday parties for teenagers. We've done birthday parties for someone, I think her 65th birthday, I think it was celebrated on our tour. So, I mean, it doesn't have an age limit. There's so many people that are just into it and want to experience it.
Has technology kept up with the demands of the paranormal investigator?
I honestly think it's hindered it.
Why is that?
Well, the reason being is too many people go out and they buy all this new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to use it properly.
Right.
And they're so apt to call something paranormal that they're not taking into all the man-made considerations that set this equipment off.
All right, like having a K2 near a refrigerator and, oh, my refrigerator's haunted.
And then I'm sure the microwave, the wiring in a house, and there are other considerations to be taken, and I'm sure you guys do this in your baseline readings when you go out to do an investigation. We're going to talk more about this on the other side of the break. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. And Exonation, our guests this hour are Will and Becky Gydesen, and they are in Tucson, Arizona. They're the owners of Tucson Ghost Company, LLC. Their websites are www.tucsonghosttour.com and www.tucsonhappenings.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we'll be going back to Tucson, Arizona on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
And welcome back, one and all. We're talking about Tucson, Arizona, the paranormal side of it. Our guests this hour are Becky and Will Gydesen, and their websites are TucsonGhostTour.com and TucsonHappenings.com. All right, Becky, since you're the ghost expert on this panel tonight, how haunted is Tucson?
Oh, very much. We have several different haunted buildings here. Downtown alone, that's where the walking tour goes. And, I mean, we take a 2-hour tour, and we still don't even hit every haunted building in downtown. Downtown is probably one of the hot spots, but there's other hot spots, too, throughout Tucson. But, yeah, we are very haunted and, unfortunately, very overlooked. So I'm hoping to change that.
Where are some of the locations where you take your tour?
Well, we started at La Cocina, and that's actually where I have my ghost hunt experience, too. La Cocina is actually, it's a restaurant and, you know, some local shops, and it was part of the original Presidio Wall here in Tucson, so that's where some of the, you know, first settlers of Tucson stayed, and that was built back in 1775.
Wow.
And they have probably about 10 different spirits there that we're aware of. So very haunted, very interactive. And then we have, you know, like Borderlands Brewery downtown and the old Access 12 Tucson building and Hotel Congress and the train station. And I mean, there's just a ton of locations in downtown that are haunted.
Why do you think some places are haunted, Will, and others aren't?
I don't think it's necessarily that they're not haunted.
Okay.
It's just nobody's ever claimed to have activity. Because, you know, if you're a spirit, you're free to go wherever you want.
True.
And Tucson has numerous tunnels underneath it that used to exist. And some people have claimed that that's like the passageway for the paranormal to come and go as they please. And we haven't even been in most of the buildings downtown because they don't want to either acknowledge that they're haunted or they just don't want to know.
Becky, why is it that, now this is something universal, it's nothing that I'm saying is unique to Tucson. Why is it that most drinking establishments are where you're going to find ghosts?
Because you're drinking with the spirits, and it's called spirits for a reason. You know, I don't know why that is. Maybe because of the fact that, you know, the bars have more of a tendency for violent behavior sometimes, which can cause, you know, some of those imprints there and some of the not so nice things. I know of a lot of bars in Tucson that, you know, they've had fights, they've had people unfortunately killed in them, so that could be one of the reasons.
Could it also be that alcohol allows the person to drop their guard and allows them to freely or more freely see things that they would not see if they were sober because of their belief system?
It could, but, you know, in all reality, I just don't think that it's really alcohol will make you do all kinds of weird things, but whenever I've actually investigated a bar, it's not the people who have been drinking that have actually had these experiences. It's the employees.
Would that be, or could that be because the ghosts or the spirits have formed a relationship unbeknownst to the staff?
It could be, yeah, because if spirits get familiar with you, you know, they're going to be more likely to interact with you. I know that's the case with La Cocina. We tend to get experiences there because we go there so much and they know us.
Why do some spirits stay on this side of the veil while other spirits go to the light?
And that's a question we'd love to know the answer to.
Yeah.
There's theories, and I think some of the theories are that they chose to stay here for many reasons, maybe, like the unfinished business, family that they want to look after, things like that. Unfortunately, that's not something that is proven yet, and we don't have a for sure answer.
This question is for each of you. What has been your most memorable paranormal experience? Let's start with ladies first, Becky.
Oh, gosh. I would have to actually say that the very first investigation that I did, it was at an old bar that was closed down, and then it turned into a haunted attraction. And we had so much happen there where we could actually hear footsteps walking up to us, and I got touched many of times, my hair played with. And from that location, I actually had a ghost follow me for like 6 months straight. He was like my best buddy all of a sudden. I don't know why, but he was constantly there and constantly around me. And we would go to other locations and we would hear his voice. He had a, specific, tone to his voice.
Right.
And we started noticing that he was at like every location. And that's how we found out that he was following me around.
Let me ask you this.
That
Before we get to Will's experience. How can something that's not seen, apparently has no mass, yet can make you can hear them walking, and they can actually touch and interact with you on some physical plane? How do we explain that?
I don't know if we actually can, but I know it's possible.
Okay.
And we have to keep in mind that if they can, actually be able to be seen from time to time, they have to be able to, be able to do other things to that. So, cause those footsteps or, reach out to touch you or things like that. And I think it's just a matter of how much energy they, are able to get to be able to do those things.
And Will, what is your most unforgettable paranormal experience?
It would have to be my very first one.
Can you share that with us?
It was when I was probably about 7 or 8. We were doing Order of the Arrow for Boy Scouts.
Okay.
Me and two of my buddies decided to go take off into the desert so we could talk, because part of the Order of the Arrow was you weren't allowed to talk for 24 hours. So needless to say, we kind of cheated on that. But while we were out running around in the desert, we stopped and looked up at this, on top of this hill, and we actually saw a glowing apparition of a Indian on horseback. And if I was the only one that saw it, I would have thought I was going crazy, but my two buddies had also seen it. And when we stopped to talk about it and then looked back, it was gone. So that's the one thing that caused me to believe that spirits are real.
Right.
But I've never seen that intensity of a spirit ever since.
How hard or how difficult is it for both of you to interact with a child who's a spirit or a ghost?
Actually, I think very easy for me.
Okay, why is that, dear?
I think because of the fact that we're parents and we have 4 daughters ourselves.
Right.
And it seems like the children's spirits kind of tend to come to me. Maybe it's because I'm that mother figure. I'm not really sure, but I know several times I've had children's spirits interact with me. In fact, I've had one at Birdcage Theater that sat on my lap, and she played with some stuff in my pouch that I was wearing, and she actually lifted the zipper on my pouch.
How did you feel at that moment when you realized beyond a shadow of a doubt that you had someone invisible sitting on your lap that was able to manipulate a zipper on the pouch that you were carrying?
I was thrilled, actually. I was kind of shocked, too, because I'm like, I just happened to look down. My lap was freezing cold. You
Right.
could definitely tell the temperature difference. And my, co-investigator, she could feel the difference too. And so I'm just looking down in my lap, and when I see the zipper moving, I threw my hands up in the air and I pointed down, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I was actually really excited about it because it was confirmation of something that, I had a feeling was going on. It was confirmation that, yes, this little girl's in my lap, and I was thrilled. I was so happy to know that.
And how long did the little girl stay with you once you discovered she was actually there?
Well, I think she stayed, for a few minutes.
Okay.
And, then she did what, she wanted to do. And, she didn't follow me home. I have had little girls follow me home, though. But that one in particular did not.
All right, Becky and Will, please stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour for our network feeds. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Becky and Will Gydesen, their websites are TucsonGhostTour.com. That's www.TucsonGhostTour.com and www.TucsonHappenings.com. One more time, that's www.TucsonHappenings.com. And Becky, Will, and I will return on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can get the latest edition of the X Chronicles newspaper online with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. We've been publishing the newspaper every month since January 1990. And if you'd like to get the printed version, they're available on Amazon.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and you're watching us around the world on Simul TV on the X Zone TV channel. From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond. You're watching the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. Becky and Will Gydesen are our special guests this hour. And not only are they the two people behind the owners of Tucson Ghost Company, but they're also the founders and lead investigators of the Tucson Ghost Society. Their websites are TucsonGhostTour.com and TucsonHappenings.com. When you guys go out and do an investigation, how do you approach it? What do you do prior to sending yourselves and your team into a full-fledged paranormal investigation? How do you validate the claims being made by the residents of the house or the business?
First, we actually do research on the people and the place, just to make sure there's nothing wrong with what's going on with the situation, whether the person's got mental issues or anything like that.
That we're not going into a criminal's home.
Right.
The first thing we want to make sure is
that
people,
our team's safe.
Yeah, we want our people that are going in to be safe in the environment. The residence is usually, or business is usually, history is looked up, make sure to look for anything that's violent that's happened, or if there's been murders, or
just deaths in general.
Or what kind of history has taken place on that piece of land itself or around it.
And then when the team actually does go in to investigate, we actually do go in as skeptics. We actually go in looking to debunk what's going on before calling anything paranormal.
And what happens, or what is the tipping point where you and your team decide, you know what, the claims being made by the resident of this home or the owners of this business are justified, that there is, in fact, paranormal activity here?
When we can't debunk. We'll try, everything possible to recreate, to do whatever it is, because of the fact, especially when it comes to private residents, we don't want to freak them out if they're already freaking out. So we want to be 100% sure on our end that, okay, yeah, there is something going on here. So we're not, making things worse for them.
And not everything that we can't explain we're going to call paranormal. It's got to be, without a shadow of a doubt, something is happening. Not, well, we can't explain this, so you're haunted. We won't do that.
We spend a couple weeks in evidence review going over all the visual, all the audio, things like that before we come to, a conclusion of yes or no, this is happening. One thing we do, and only Will and I will pretty much know, is the claims of the residents. We can send our team in kind of blind when it comes for that, because of the fact that if they experience something that the client does, they don't know that that's what the client was experiencing. So it's kind of like a backup to the client's claims.
Out of, let's say, 100 investigations that are brought to your attention, what would be the percentage of investigations out of that 100 that would actually be investigated and come out with the conclusion of paranormal activity?
I don't know, probably about 50-50. We've been on a lot of cases that we've been able to, tell them it's, shadowing because of mirrors, and it's high EMF that's causing you to be, feeling like you're being watched. But then we've come across, cases to where we've had things that we can't explain, and we've had very clear voices that we can't explain. So, I would definitely say probably about a 50-50.
What is the common thread, if any, between the residents and the business people who call you?
I think businesses are more of a curiosity. They're like, this has been going on. We've had all kinds of employees. Let us know what you think. Residentials are more, I think they're freaking out more, and they're wanting to know what's in their home. And you definitely get more residents calling up saying that it's something negative, and they feel like it's something negative over businesses saying that.
Is the fact that the residents are calling you up saying that they believe that whatever is happening in their home is negative, is this type of paranormal investigation on the rise?
I think due to TV, yes.
We've also noticed that a lot of people blame problems in their relationship or their health on paranormal. And a lot of them, lately it seems, a lot more have been claiming that it's destroying their life, it's tearing their families apart, and in most cases it's really not. It's just one person saying, oh, this isn't real, and somebody in the household that believes in it going, yes, it is, and they're basically just arguing about that, and they can't get past that point. So then it becomes evil or negative.
Gotcha. When you go to do your investigations, what kind of equipment do you bring, Becky?
Oh, gosh, we got so many different things. We have an 8-camera DVR system that we can use. Of course, your normal K2s, ghost meters, spirit box, which is a little bit harder to use here in Tucson because of all the radio stations. But when we go out of town, we have the spirit box. Let's see, we have a laser grid, we have a Connect, we have REM pods, we have a trigger object that we call Boo, which is like a REM pod, but he's, the little stuffed dog.
A flare.
We have a flare.
We basically try and cover all aspects of what is out there. But what it all really boils down to is the recorders.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this DVR system you have, is this the kind that we would see in an alarm company that would have the 8 cameras connected to a central DVR system with a monitor that you can basically switch camera to camera to camera?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And you could also view them all at the same time.
Yeah. Gotcha. What has been the most astounding evidence that you and your team have been able to document, Becky, during an investigation?
Visual, I would say we caught a shadow behind me. That was, I think, one of the most major visual thing we've ever caught is the shadow. And Will and I went over it like 3 hours trying to debunk it. We looked at all of the other camera situations to see where everybody was, situated, and, making sure that when people got up to leave the room, their shadow didn't cast here and there. And we spent forever trying to debunk it, and we couldn't. I mean, this shadow literally just appears, looked like over my shoulder, and then like disappears down a hallway. It's amazing.
But once again, how do we explain the rationale behind how a shadow can be generated if there's no one there blocking the light source in order to create the shadow?
I think it's just, again, it depends on, what type of energy they have at that point in time. It's like trying to explain how apparitions appear. The only thing that we can theorize is the energy. And I think it's just the different, types of energy that causes these things to be able to take place.
Well, speaking about the energy, during the time of this shadow figure being photographed by whoever was doing the camera, whether it was a fixed camera or whatever. What did the other instruments in the immediate area show? How about the EMF reader? What was it showing? What about the thermometer? What was it showing?
You know, in all reality,
Yeah.
What was going on was the DVR camera was faced towards me,
Mm-hmm.
and my equipment was on the table.
I see.
And me being sensitive, I tend to get off balance and dizzy when something's near me. The K2 was going off here and there, but for the most part, I was feeling very dizzy at this point in time when that shadow was behind me, but I didn't really realize why at that point in time.
Well, why do you think there's more negativity in the reports of paranormal that we're seeing across the board these days?
TV.
Yeah.
The TV programs put it off as being negative. We've been to some of these places, and we're not going to name names of things, but we've been to some of these places that have been investigated by TV shows that claim to have negativity, and there truly is not negativity. It's not negative. A ghost that likes to play pranks is all of a sudden negative or evil. A grumpy old man ghost is suddenly negative and demonic. They're not. They're just their personalities.
And I also believe it has to deal with how you interact with them. If you go up to somebody on the street and you start yelling in their face, and
you're going to get negativity.
Exactly.
And start pushing them around, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get slugged.
All right,
if you treat a spirit the same way, there you go.
do unto others. All right, my friends, please stand by. We have to take our final break for this hour. Exo Nation, Becky and Will Gydesen are our guests. Here are the two websites, www.tucsonghosttour.com and www.tucsonhappenings.com. I'm Rob McConnell. This is The Exxon, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And then on the weekend for the best of, starting at 7 p.m., going right to 3 a.m. Don't go away.
Watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomena, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Exonation, Becky and Will Gydesen are our special guests this hour. They're the owners of Tucson Ghost Company, and they have a book coming out October of next year. It's entitled Haunted Tucson. And if you'd like more information about Will and Becky, if you'd like to find out what they're up to, how you can take their tours when you visit Tucson, two websites, TucsonGhostTours.com and TucsonHappenings.com. First of all, Will and Becky, thanks so much for coming on the show and for sharing these wonderful adventures with us. And I wish you the best of luck in the upcoming years.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about what you guys have coming up, because next month is Halloween, and I'm sure that's a very busy time for you.
Yes, it's an insane time for us, but it's actually already started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what else do you have that's going to be happening?
Well, besides our regular, ghost tours, which is, the walking tour, Tucson Ghost Tour, the Ghost Hunt, Tucson Ghost Experience, we also have a driving tour, Tucson Haunts, that it's kind of on the slow side because Will and I have to give that tour, and we just have not had time to give that tour lately. But we have a ton of special events coming up. We're participating in the national largest ghost hunt on September 29th. We're doing that out at Arcadia Ranch in Oracle, and we're selling tickets for people to come out to broadcast with us and then ghost hunt afterwards.
Mm-hmm. With proceeds going to the Arcadia Ranch.
Yeah. And then, that starts on, September 29th, and that basically starts all of our events. On October 13th, we're doing something we've never done before. We're taking a van full of people out to Gydesen, Arizona, and we're having, a Gydesen native talk about the history, and we're taking people around to see the old jail, the old school, the old hospital, and arming them with, paranormal equipment and letting them ghost hunt out there.
Well, what is so special about Gydesen?
Gydesen is just basically an old mining town that, there's still people that live there, but you blink and you miss the town. It's not really anything major anymore.
Yeah, it's literally
it's
one
like
road.
A ghost town, pretty much. Yeah, it's like one road.
That's a good place to go, looking for ghosts in a ghost town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's got history. It's been around since probably just before the 1900s.
Yeah, it was booming at one point in time because of the fact that it was a mining town. The mines are, right there. But, yeah, basically once, they stopped mining, the town just kind of went with it. And plus they had a fire that basically burnt down the whole town.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it. Why do you think that... Let me phrase this right. Why do you think that certain municipalities or certain towns really go in for the paranormal aspect in their history and others want nothing to do with it?
I would have to say with like Gydesen, at this stage in life or this era that we're in, it draws people in, and it gets you to not only do the ghost hunt, but actually see the history of what used to be.
Right.
Because that's one of the things we do is not only do we want you to know about the haunts, but we also want you to know the history of where you're investigating and what it was once like at one point in time.
And I think a lot of these old towns that are basically the ghost towns, they realize that right now there's that market for, the paranormal, and that's going to bring the people into the town. And so they have, no issues promoting that.
It's a source of revenue. It's a source of revenue in the tourism industry as well as in the food and beverage industry.
Right.
Gotcha. With all the groups that are out there each and every night, ghost hunting, investigating, trying to document, I've been doing this show for 29 years now. And I don't know how many ghost operators tour operators I've talked to, different paranormal investigative groups. I think last count there were over 16 or 17,000 different ghost companies or ghost research organizations in the United States alone. With all of these people out there, and let's say each one has 10 people, so that brings it up to about, 160,000 people, all looking for something each and every night. How come it hasn't been found to the point where there's unequivocal proof that there is life beyond death and that ghosts are real?
We'd all be out of a job.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
I think it's more that you got people that they just constantly want to have that interaction, and then you have people that just don't want to believe at all.
Right.
So you're walking down a line where you're going to have people that believe and people that don't, and you're never going to satisfy either side.
Yeah, you could get solid evidence, and you're still going to have that one person that says, nope, it was fake, or nope, that's not real.
Speaking about evidence, do all the different ghost researchers share evidence that they find, or is it held close in order to try and get that smoking gun?
That's going to actually vary. If it's our residential cases, we keep those private. We do not allow any of that out. And even our businesses, if they don't want it being known, then we don't let that out.
Right.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about releasing it to the public, but the evidence that each group collects. Do you guys exchange the EVPs? Do you exchange video footage? Do you exchange photographs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, within our team for sure. Within other teams around us, if people want to collaborate, do things like that, we're more than open. We will totally, discuss things. But we've noticed a lot of teams that don't want to do that, unfortunately, in our area.
Right.
And so we're not going to openly go to another team and say, hey, here's, what we found, and have them be like, okay, now it's, ours, and we're not talking to you anymore or something. But, we're more than willing to, collaborate with other people. When we went back east, we met some really awesome teams back east that were, very into that para-unity and come on in, do this with us. And, we love that, and we would love to do the same out here, but we need to find the teams that are willing to do that with us.
How many different groups are there in Tucson, Arizona that go out and do paranormal investigations like you guys do?
I don't think there's a group like ours in particular, but I do know that there's other paranormal groups, and I couldn't even tell you how many because they come and go so fast. In the 5 years we've been doing this, I've seen at least 4 to 5 groups, get together and then disappear. So it just varies.
We've got about a minute and a half left before I have to say so long. What are your final thoughts about the paranormal, about ghosts that you'd like to share with the X Zone Nation tonight?
That they're real. I know that won't convince anyone, but, it's not evil. I guess that's one thing I really have to put out there is so many people look at this as being evil, and it's not.
So when you're out there doing your investigations, do you ever feel threatened or that you or a member of your team are in danger?
I don't think we've ever really truly felt that way.
No, I haven't come across anything that would put anybody in that situation.
I've heard of some investigators taunting spirits, yelling at them, cursing at them to try and get a reaction. What is your opinion of that tactic?
We don't do that.
No, that's, if you want to, I mean, that boils down to bullying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not very respectful to anybody, whether they're passed on or alive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Treat the spirits just like you would treat another human being. And I know this world nowadays, that's not saying much, but you want to treat people with respect and kindness and love. And that's how you want to treat the other side.
What is your number one rule when it comes to paranormal investigations that you would like to share with the listeners?
To definitely try to debunk first. Don't go in calling everything a ghost because you're not helping this field at all.
Will, how about you give us your websites one more time?
It's www.tucsonghosttours.com.
Ghost tour.
Or ghosttour.com. And then www.tucsonhappenings.com. And on that one, you'd actually look for the paranormal.
Arizona Paranormal.
Yeah, Arizona Paranormal. That would be Becky's article that she writes.
Okay, great. Well, guys, I want to thank you once again for joining us tonight. Continued success, and I look forward to the next time that we meet, talking about how haunted Tucson is and your exploits as paranormal researchers.
Thank you.
You guys take care of each other.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye now. X Zone Nation, our guests this hour have been Becky and Will Gydesen. Their websites are TucsonGhostTour.com and www.TucsonHappenings.com. Now, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news for those of you who are listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, iHeartRadio, ZOEN-FM, and, of course, on Simul Radio and Simul TV. My name is Rob McConnell. We don't want you to go away. We want you to stick around. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.